Happy New Year's, guys! As I'm sure anybody who watches any of my videos would know, Tim Dog famously dissed Snoop Dogg and pretty much all of Compton. I mean, he's had a couple interesting records, but really his career just hinges on his penultimate Fuck Compton, where he let everybody from Compton have it, 1991. And of course, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg's retaliation to him is one of the most famous songs in hip-hop history. And of course, I also did a video about Tweety Bird Loke's underrated response to it. But what's a little less known, I think, is that Tim Dog actually came back with a retaliation record in 1994, independently pressed, called Bitch with a Perm. Talking about Snoop Dogg again. 1994, Distress Records is just a little independent self-published thing. There's no other record on the label or anything. It's a double 12-inch. There's actually a couple pressings, so I'm going to get into all of that. But I would say if you're only going to get one, and you probably should only get one, this is the one to get. So it's a double 12-inch. There's actually two 12-inch singles in the same sleeve. And it's basically just two versions of the same song. You'll see right here, Bitch with a Perm is one song, and then Dog Baby is on the other side. You're like, oh, well, what's that song? Dog Baby really is just another remix. In fact, it says Bitch with a Perm Rottweiler Mix. And then Dog Baby is essentially, it is... Well, here, let's get into it. Well, first, let's just talk about the actual main song, Bitch with a Perm. So, the Rottweiler mix is the first mix. It's the main mix. It's probably the one most of y'all know, except there was a very sort of obscure independent music video for the song, and they did not use the Rottweiler mix. But it's certainly the main one here and on other 12-inch singles. It's produced by some guy called The Press. I don't know who that is. I don't think he's done much else besides this. Maybe it's even an alias. And it's basically just Tim Dog going pretty hard at Snoop through the whole thing. He doesn't go after any other targets this time. There's certainly no subtext or anything like that. It's just him dissing Snoop Dogg. Certainly, one thing that the whole beef is known for is kind of the unintentional homoerotic elements to the song. You know, Snoop Dogg saying things like, you know, they got teeth in your mouth, my dick's got to fit, talking about Luke, of course, and then Luke has similar retaliations back to Snoop about the same thing. Well, that's definitely present here, too. There's a whole bit, I'm going to play a clip of it, but there's a whole thing where he talks about, you know, why live on your own when you can live with me for free? You'll be sucking my dick all night. Like, it's so far... It's definitely probably the most extreme example, and it's to the point where you actually start to wonder, like, has Tim Dog sort of gotten in touch with, like, oh, I've got a huge underground homosexual following I didn't even know about, so I'm going to cater to them a little bit on this record. I don't know, but it's really pretty over the top at some points in this song. He doesn't really have so much really to say this time. Like with Fuck Compton, you thought, okay, the song's kind of justified, even though it's not about that they had come at him first or anything, but Compton was so extremely kind of played out, you know. Everybody's calling themselves Compton Most Wanted. There's Compton's Righteous. There's just so many groups, NWA, which is Compton, Compton, Compton. Like hip-hop in 1991 really went overboard with Compton. So when he came out with Fuck Compton, you're like, yeah. You know, this point, you're sort of like he's just dissing back to kind of probably get his name back into the game again. Because this is a couple years after he'd been on Rough House now. He's no longer on a major label. He's totally independent. And he's coming back with this. So I'm going to play a clip of it. But basically, I mean, the long and the short of it is it's certainly not as good as Fuck Compton. But it's kind of a cool, fun, you know, you're in the market for a diss song. This still isn't so bad. So this is Bitch with a Perm, the Rottweiler mix by Tim Dog.
Yeah. Oh, shit. It's about time we set it off again, bitch.
Alright, now let's talk Dog Baby, sometimes called the Bitch with a Perm parenthetically remix. And again, if you just saw like the music video or something, it's just called Bitch with a Perm without the remix subtext or anything. And it's sort of a remix and it sort of isn't. First of all, it's got a totally new instrumental, also produced by The Press, which is kind of interesting. On the one hand, it's totally going for that sort of West Coast Dr. Dre G-Funk thing, you know, sort of we're responding in kind, I guess. You know, it's got that kind of slide whistly kind of sound to it, that and then at the same time though, it's got the bass line from Eric B for President, and it's actually a pretty cool blend. It sounds kind of cool. I mean, you know, depending how much you're into the G-Funk stuff, but it sounds pretty cool. And then it's got a new hook, so instead of talking about Bitch with a Perm, he's just saying the dog baby, it's a dog baby baby, so it's a new hook, and one new verse. The opening verse is different. After that, it goes back into the verses from Bitch with a Perm, and it's exactly the same song, so it's basically a remix, but the first verse is different. It's not so Snoop-centric. He's still sort of talking about this in the West Coast and stuff, but it's not so, this is all about Snoop Dogg. Whereas the first verse on Bitch with a Perm really is all about Snoop Dogg, just like all the other verses on both songs, which, again, are the same. And so that's it for the first 12 inches. Just got the two songs, one on each side. Then the second 12 inches, just a bunch of extra stuff. Instrumentals, got an acapella on here. It's got a radio edit. Actually, Dog Baby on the first 12 inch is a bit censored, but it's got a radio edit of Bitch with a Perm, and it's got both instrumentals. Both just have the label logo on the other side. Of the other pressings, there is some, I think it's just a foreign one, like a UK one or something, or a Germany one, that has a whole other song called In It For Cash, which is okay. It's not Snoop Dogg related at all. It's just another new, meaning new for 1994, new Tim Dog song from around that era. It's okay. If you're a completist, if you're a hardcore Tim Dog fan, then I guess it's worth tracking down because it's not bad, but otherwise you really don't need it. You know, you're probably just picking this up to hear Tim Dog battle Snoop Dogg, so all you need is this one. So again, I would recommend the double 12-inch. So that's it. I'm going to play you a clip of Dog Baby so you can hear the comparison for yourselves. And a short video from me. I'm out of here, just bringing in the new year with sort of an old, sort of weak reply to a forgotten diss track. 2015. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.